Abby Eden is here, and she has the story about a little girl.
Yeah, and this little girl's beating all the odds.
I mean, truly, she is such an incredible young girl. She was born with a life-threatening disease, but she's past her first birthday and getting stronger each day. Here's her story. For the first month of her life, Brooklyn Enos seemed to be a healthy, typical baby girl.
Completely normal, kicking and screaming, smiling. Started breastfeeding immediately. I mean, just a normal baby. Had no idea at all that we were in for something special.
Something special and something quite alarming. Bows and nail polish were suddenly joined by breathing machines and feeding tubes. Brooklyn's young life took a drastic turn weeks after she was born. Tests showed Brooklyn had spinal muscular atrophy 1, or SMA 1.
She ended up losing her swallow, having an NG tube put down her nose, losing almost all of her movements and all of her limbs, her legs, her arms. She couldn't move her head. Her smile was weakening. She couldn't laugh. And we thought we were losing her.
A few weeks later, Brooklyn got pneumonia. That, coupled with her dwindling strength, gave doctors reason to believe she would be another SMA casualty.
They didn't tell us much of anything besides 9 to 12 months would be a great timeline for her life.
The life expectancy for SMA1 is 18 months at most. Babies born with the disease lose their ability to move their arms and legs, becoming paralyzed. They also lose the ability to swallow, and many can't breathe on their own. And all of this happens while their brain continues to function normally. But what happened with Brooklyn is different.
She can smile, she's starting to laugh.
And on October 5th, Brooklyn did what her doctors did not expect her to do. She celebrated her first birthday.
Happy birthday, dear.
Rachel and Matthew say one thing has made the difference between slowly watching their little girl slip away and making big plans for the future.
I mean, it's a miracle drug. Like, we're watching a miracle right before our eyes. Like, this drug is life-changing.
It's a new drug called Spinraza, and Brooklyn is one of the youngest patients ever to try it. Dr. Ann Connolly is at the helm of a research study testing the effects of Spinraza. She says studies show Spinraza helps children with SMA regain milestones like kicking and smiling, just like Brooklyn did.
She's definitely benefiting from the medicine.
Once every 4 months for the rest of her life, Brooklyn will go to Children's Hospital in St. Louis to get her Spinraza through a spinal tap. It is extremely costly, however. The cost has drawn criticism. It costs $750,000 for treatments in the first year, and it'll cost $375,000 for the 3 treatments Brooklyn will need every year. It's been a struggle for the Enos family. Rachel quit a full-time career to give Brooklyn the 24-hour care she needs.
When you see this, like, I don't care. I would live in a shoebox. You know what I mean?
Just 2 days after the most recent treatment, Rachel says Brooklyn has more strength in her arms and legs, and she's moving with noticeably less effort. It's results like these that have researchers excited about the future of SMA treatments.
I think it's a very hopeful time. This is the first big breakthrough. Spinraza is the first big breakthrough.
Another breakthrough is Senate Bill 50. It was signed into law this year, and it makes Missouri the first and only state so far to screen all newborns for SMA.
If you just look at an infant, you cannot tell. So the physical exam at birth does not show that they're becoming weaker, but by 2 to 3 months, they are profoundly weak.
Screening will begin in 2019, and it could save the lives of children born with SMA by getting them access to treatment right away.
I'm not putting any limits on her. I'm not putting a date on her. I'm not saying anything like, no, you're going to be here forever. You're going to outlive me for sure.
I love you.
So we asked a Biogen spokesperson why the drug costs so much money, and she responded in part saying, quote, it strived to achieve an appropriate balance among 3 key pricing principles: clinical value, impact to the healthcare system, and commitment to patients and advancing science through the funding of research and development. So Biogen also offers a program that aims to make Spinraza more affordable for families. It's called Spinraza SMA 360. So they have something there, but regardless, that's a big price to overcome. But you know, Brooklyn's family is working for ways to lower that cost, and hopefully insurance will be able to widely cover this for families. But you know, truly what the drug has done. I mean, you've seen.
Yeah, remarkable. Improvement.
Playing peekaboo.
Yeah.
I mean,
And throwing toys, her mom said. Typically I would not encourage throwing toys, but Brooklyn gets to do it, right? So, pretty cool.
So, Abby, what did you learn in terms of why routine screening for SMA isn't done on newborns?
Okay, so there's a lot of different answers, and I'm getting a lot of information from SMA News today. There are some deciding factors as to whether or not it's going to go into that recommended uniform screening panel. That's kind of the guidelines for all the states. States get to decide on a state-by-state basis what they are going to say needs to be screened for. So there needs to be approved treatment available, and it needs to show that it's effective. There also needs to be a reliable diagnostic test. So there has to be one test that they can do that's cost effective, that will be covered, and easy enough that they can do those panels. So that's one of those things.
Yeah.
Wow.
And how's SMA diagnosed?
So there are a different number of factors. One can be just through a genetic blood test. That's obviously the easiest, and apparently it's about 95% effective. But there's also an electromyography, which tests the muscles and the nerves, and then a muscle biopsy or a creatine kinase or CPK. So there are lots of different levels you can go through. So I'm assuming the blood test would be the most widely used one.
have other kids had the same response to the drug that Brooklyn has had?
So that's the most amazing thing. Brooklyn started very young, and so that is partially why she is seeing so much progress. But there have been kids since her that have started even younger. We're talking 9 days old, who don't have feeding tubes, who don't need the breathing machines on a daily basis. So they are seeing some really incredible improvements. And so that's why if infants are tested at birth, they're thinking this drug will be even more effective, and that could potentially really save and improve lives.
And perhaps lower the cost of Spinraza to be able to give that to the babies.
That would be, that's what a lot of families are hoping for, that after the newness kind of goes down a little bit, then maybe the price will go down as well. So we'll see.
Great story. We're rooting for
Thank
Brooklyn.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Abby.
you. Yes, she's
Thank you.
awesome.
If you want to follow Brooklyn's fight, as she continues to amaze doctors, you can find a link to their Believe in Brooklyn Facebook page. It's on our website. Go to fox4kc.com.